Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming or Battlefield-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a YouTube message. The first question for today comes from Flying Walrus, and it is, what do you think about giving squad leaders the ability to call in things like ATVs and supply crates instead of the commander? The squad leader knows best what the situation is and what the squad needs. It would be similar to the perk system currently in place. As the squad gets more points, they can activate these tools. Now, this is an interesting concept. It is no secret that I'm not much of a fan of the commander mode in Battlefield 4. I think it gives way too much power to one individual player, but if you spread it out amongst the squads, and as long as they were working together, like with the field upgrades, but also had this further layer where they could call in ATVs or supply crates when it was needed, that sounds incredible. Like, there are so many situations in Battlefield where you're on one side of the map, you need to get to the other, and having an ATV at that instance would be phenomenal. It would get you over back into the action a lot faster, and while yes, you could ask the commander to drop one in for you, if they're not paying attention, or if they're busy doing something else, or if they already dropped it in another sector, you won't have that ATV for a good couple of seconds, or if at all. And so instead of having to wait for the commander, who may never respawn for you, he may never bring in that ATV, your squad leader can drop it in. He knows exactly what you need at that instant. He can drop that in, and then you're on your way back towards the action. You would have to balance everything out. We wouldn't want to have supply crates raining down all over the place. We would want to make it so that you would have to work, or you would have to work with your squad for a while to unlock one of these things. But it just sounds like such a better system than what we currently have with the commander, at least in my opinion. Where we start to run into some issues though, and I'm sure many of you have experienced this on numerous occasions, like it's a pretty big problem in Battlefield, is that if you're not running with your buddies, if you're not running with your friends, the random people in your squad don't give a rat's ass what you're doing. They don't care that you're the squad leader and you just marked Alpha as the objective that you want them to capture. They don't care that it's going to give them a little bit more points. They don't care that it's going to progress their field upgrades. They're going to go do their own thing. They're going to go snipe on top of a rooftop. They're going to go put C4 on an ATV and go take out some tanks. And, you know, they have every right to do that. They paid their $60 for Battlefield 4, or maybe $100 if they bought premium, and they're going to go have fun in their own way. And so I think if they did add this into a future Battlefield title, they would need to try and hammer out getting people to work together a little bit more. If they did add this system, it would be another layer of incentive, so that would be another way to try to get people to be a cohesive squad. But right now, there are so many times when I don't even realize I'm a squad leader. Like, the squad system and the UI system right now just needs a complete revamp. Like, half the time, and I'm sure I'm not alone with this, I just simply do not know when I got promoted to squad leader. I know it brings up the message, but there's a lot of messages popping up on my screen half the time. Like, if you're playing on a certain server, they're just constantly bombarding you with these messages. Who was the best squad last round? Come donate, come join our server, things like that. And so I've trained myself to avoid those messages or not even notice them. And so when the squad promotion thing comes up, I don't even notice it half the time. And so I think they need to do some work on hammering out the UI and making it much more apparent when you are the squad leader, and just trying to get squads to work better. So overall, I think that this is a phenomenal idea. I think it's far superior to the commander mode, but I do think that some rebalancing and some polish needs to be done before that would be implemented. The next question comes from Sam, and it is, you said in the past that you aren't much of a fan of the single player in Battlefield. Do you enjoy single-player first-person shooters? And if so, what would you like to see improved in the next Battlefield game? Well, honestly, I'm not much of a fan of a lot of the modern military shooters that have come out over the last couple of years. You know, you have like Call of Duty, Battlefield, Medal of Honor, because while they have these epic moments where you have to defuse a nuclear bomb, you have to save the world, there's a million nukes about to descend upon New York, for example, while it's interesting, it's epic, I mean, sure, you're the savior of the universe, you're the savior of the world, it's gotten to the point now where that's like what every single one of these modern AAA titles are. And I'm just like, okay, I get it. I'm the hero. I want an actual story now with some real characters, with some real character development and a human element. I recently played Spec Ops: The Line, and while it's not a perfect game, you may have heard of it. The cover system, for example, is terrible. But the story in it is top-notch, and this isn't going to be a complete list of why I think it's great, or really a complete list of what makes a good single-player game, in my opinion. But one of the qualities that I really enjoy about the game is that it acknowledges what you're doing and the atrocities that you're partaking in. For example, there is a moment in the game when you come across an enemy camp, they're down below, they don't realize you're there, and they're blocking your way for where you need to go, to your destination. I think you're heading towards a building at that point. And the only way for you to get around them is to essentially kill them with a mortar system. Like there's this mortar phosphorus off to your right. But even before you start to rain death down upon everyone and essentially burn them to a crisp, your buddy, one of your squad mates, is like, I don't know how I feel about this. He says that there's got to be a choice here. There's got to be another way that we can go around. You talk it out. You're like, nope, this is the only way to do it. And so you kill everyone down there. Then after that, when you're walking through the destruction that you just caused, both of them are like, man, this is terrible. Why did we do this? We just murdered these people. Like, this is terrible. And I know how bad this is gonna sound, but I love that about it. Not because I love murdering people. It made me think about what was going on. It made me feel bad about what I just did, but it was also used to progress the story. These moments happen throughout the game, and after every single one of these moments, after every single one of these gameplay mechanics, your squad mates, your buddies, start to interact with you differently. There's some character development here. They're not comfortable with the way that you are leading, the way that you are, commanding them to do what they're doing, and they start to push back. There's conflict there. And so not only are these devices mixing up the gameplay, because you don't just want to have a corridor shooter the entire time, there needs to be a little bit more variety, but it's also driving the way that the story progresses. You do not see that in a lot of military modern first-person shooters. Like, it's just not there, especially in like Call of Duty or Battlefield. And so I guess what I'm trying to get at is I want a first-person shooter that is grounded in reality, has believable characters, has a human element to it, and it's not just about epic moments. Like, sure, you can have them in there, sure, there can be some times where I'm taking out helicopters with a minigun, but if I have to save the world one more goddamn time because a million nukes are about to fall on the United States, screw that. That story's been done. It's saturated in the market. We have way too many of these games where we're saving the world because of nukes. Give me a tight-knit story that's grounded in reality, that has believable characters that I can grow to respect and enjoy and love. Give me that, and I'll be happy in a future Battlefield title. The next question comes from Dario, and it is, what do you think if DICE put a sniper superiority game mode in Battlefield? It would be on a special maps like mountains where you could do 1,000-meter headshots. Well, conceptually, this sounds interesting. Like, the idea of maybe being in between or on two different mountainsides where there's a valley in the middle and you're just kind of sniping between the valley, taking out the snipers that are on the other side, that sounds interesting. Like, that sounds like something that you would see in, like, The Shooter. If you guys remember that movie with Mark Wahlberg, there's that scene where they're up in the mountains and Wahlberg is just picking out each and every single one of the snipers. It's really cool, and to have that in a video game form, that sounds awesome, but that's not what Battlefield is all about, and I think the game mode would become a ghost town very quickly. There are so many things right now in Battlefield that just would not make this possible because of the mechanics. You have the sniper glint. That is the biggest one right now, where if, let's say, for example, you're on these two mountainsides and you're both firing at each other, while I'm sure you're gonna have a couple of cover here and there's gonna be some rocks, you're just gonna see a mountain full of little flashlights everywhere. There's little sniper glint everywhere, and so the whole stealthy mechanics, the whole stealth thing that I'm sure you're looking for in a game mode like this won't be possible because of the current mechanics in Battlefield. And so I think the game that you're looking for is Sniper Elite 3. It's got this exact gameplay. It may not be on the epic scale that you would expect from a Battlefield title. You're not going to be on the sides of mountains shooting at people that are 1,000 meters away by any means, but it's a tactical sniper game. You're going to be using bolt-action rifles to kill your enemy. It has that stealthy tactical gameplay, and so while conceptually, yes, in Battlefield it sounds interesting, when we really get down to it, the mechanics that are already in place with like the vapor trail and the sniper glint, I don't see a sniper superiority game mode being really all that fun, and I have a feeling that it would just turn into a ghost town after a couple of weeks. The next question comes from Stickbo, and it is, how do you stay so calm and upbeat when teammates around you are simply incompetent? Do you rage like the rest of us? Yeah, I rage every once in a while. I don't try to make a habit of it because I'm playing video games. They're supposed to be fun, but there are some moments when I'm competitive. I'm a competitive person. I mean, you guys know that I was a gymnast for basically half my life, and so being in a situation where I want to win and not winning because of my team or just because of my performance, I will get a little upset by that. But at the end of the day, I just have to keep reminding myself that this is a video game. It is supposed to be fun, it is supposed to be enjoyable, and so if I have a couple of rounds where by the end of it, I notice that my hairs are on end, you know, I'm bristling up, and I'm just getting frustrated with myself, I'll step away from it from a couple of hours. I'll go do something else, I'll go outside, I'll go to the gym, workout, blow off some steam, and then come back to it. And while this is my job, because I do make YouTube videos for a living, I know how for a lot of people that sounds very weird, but this is my job, and so sometimes I just have to power through the frustration at moments. I just try to keep reminding myself to have fun, relax, this is supposed to be enjoyable, and usually when I relax and I just tell myself to have fun and enjoy what I'm doing, all of a sudden I start performing better. It's a little weird like that. So yes, I do rage, but I try not to make a habit of it. But yeah, guys, that's about it for today's Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. Once again, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a YouTube message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.